so glad to be finally making this video. I finally read Remarkably Bright Creatures and it was 5 stars. Who would have thought? I knew I was sitting on a good book this whole time, but there was always like other things coming out at the time that I wanted to read, and then this kind of just kept getting pushed to the back, and I was always a little bit like, I'm scared that I'm going to read it and it's not going to live up to what I thought it was going to be. We're following a couple of people in this book, but the main ones are Toba, I want to say is how you pronounce it, Cameron, and then we've got Marcellus, our octopus. Tova's son Eric passed away, I think it's around 30 years ago, unexpectedly at a very young age, so Tova is dealing with that grief, and it does follow that pretty much the whole way through the book. Also her husband passed away as well at this point, so she's kind of just living on her own, like trying to navigate the world. Tova works at the aquarium, so she ends up making friends with the octopus there. His name is Marcellus, and I loved his chapters. I think he was so funny. I loved him so much. We're also following our male main character, Cameron. He is just struggling with life. Like, he just doesn't know what he should be doing with it. He's got no direction. Cameron just doesn't really have like a sense of identity. He doesn't really have a purpose. He doesn't know what he's doing with his life. All his friends are getting married and having kids, and he just feels like he's falling behind a bit. Eventually, paths cross. I won't go in any further, but oh my god, this book was so heartwarming and also gut-wrenching. This book made me think and feel without having to spell it out to me. So there wasn't that many like quotes that I could highlight. It was more just reading it was making me feel things. So there's not that many annotations. However, this book made me feel more than most other books ever have. And relatable. I feel like anybody can relate to this. In fact, yes, everyone can relate to this in one way or another. We're all going to experience grief at some point in our lives, and this was just a really eye-opening, heartwarming way of explaining that. Don't go into this book expecting anything. Just go into it with an open mind, let it take its course. I think that's the best thing I could have done with this book, was going into it with no expectations. It's books like this that remind me why I love reading, and I just can't believe that someone can put so much feeling and thought into such a small amount of space and like impact me the way that this did. So go and read this book.